forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory,
Go back with me to 1 Samuel, chapter 17. And David spake to the men that stood by him, saying, What shall be done to the man that killeth this Philistine, and taketh away the reproach from Israel? For who is this uncircumcised Philistine, that he should defy the armies of the living God? And the people answered him after this manner, So shall it be done to the man that killeth him. And then you remember Eliab's brother starts saying, Oh, David, you know. I want to go down and look at something that's real interesting and often misquoted. But here David turns round and the words, verse 31, and the words were heard which David spake, and they rehearsed them before Saul. And he sent for him. And David said to Saul, Let no man's heart fail because of him. Thy servant will go and fight with this Philistine. And Saul said to David, Thou art not able to go against this Philistine to fight with him, for thou art but a youth, and he a man of war from his youth. And David said unto Saul, Thy servant kept his father's sheep, and there came a lion and a bear, and took a lamb out of the flock. And I went after him, and smote him, and delivered him out of his mouth. And when he arose against me, I caught him by his beard, and smote him, and slew him. Thy servant slew both the lion and the bear. And this uncircumcised Philistine shall be as one of them, seeing he hath defied the armies of the living God. Look, there are two things I want you to notice about David. One is that all the other people in the army were in fear. Everyone was afraid. It's amazing how one person can see circumstances from a different perspective to everyone else. And if you're a Christian, you see everything from God's perspective. It's amazing how many people see it from a negative perspective. I find people, if there's 20% wrong with something, they'll major on the 20% and ignore the 80%. Why? Because that's their way. There are people that can see a problem, you know, one boat goes down and they'll say the whole fleet's sunk. There are people with negative attitudes, aren't there? Hello? I want to talk to you. You know? There are people who always confine, if something goes wrong, the whole world's collapsing. Huh? If something becomes a challenge, everything's a challenge. I need to talk to you. You need to grow up. I find they call themselves Christians, but they're not. They're heathens. You push down things, you say, well, it can't be. Well, it can be, because God is God, and he's on the throne. And here's David, and he starts to get people to see things in the right perspective. And it's so important when you look at anything in life to look at the right perspective. If you look at it from your perspective instead of God's, you go down. But when you start looking at it from God's perspective, you see it differently. And David says, look, doesn't matter. Don't let any man's heart fail him from fear. We're going up. This giant's had it. He's in trouble. And I want to tell you this morning, the devil's in trouble. He's always in trouble when I'm around. People say, oh, you know, the devil this, the devil that. The devil nothing. 2,000 years ago, Jesus defeated him. Took away all his power, all his ability. The lies come when you start giving voice to the lies. A lot of people getting it, oh, can't understand this, I can't understand that. Well, who made you that smart? Grow up. I don't need to understand, I believe God. That's sufficient for me. Too many people live in their intellect. And I'll tell you, if you rely on your intellect, you're going to be in trouble. You see a lion or a bear, hey, you know, it doesn't take much to kill them. Really doesn't. It's only that you think they have strength. But God's on our side. And when God's for me, who can be against me? Turn around to the person next to you, say, if God's for you, everyone else is in trouble. They really are. But you see then, when you come to the fact, there's the 1 stone people and the 5 stone people.